Married?
Yes.
Married.
Okay. Would you like to come in and talk to me in my van?
I'd love to. Absolutely.
Welcome to Van Therapy. Watch your head. You're both tall and gorgeous.
Thank
So
you.
watch your head getting in there. Perfect. So, are you ready to spin the wheel?
You know it.
Give it a spin.
Okay.
Do it.
Dun, 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 dun. So friendships, what comes to mind when you think about friendships? And it could be anything, how important they are, how does that land in your life?
Currently, partnerships come to mind.
Okay.
From the standpoint of trying to navigate them and figuring out the best way to accommodate people while not selling yourself short. We recently started a business and just trying to overcome all the hurdles that go into that. And
With lifelong friendships as
Exactly.
partners. So partnerships with friendships and that whole combination can obviously be tricky. You know,
Yeah.
Everybody says don't go into
Everybody
business with
says
friends,
don't go
right?
into business
And
with
how many
friends.
times do you do it anyway? So we're in the midst of,
no matter how many times you've been burned.
we're in the midst of handling
Yes.
that right now and dealing
Uh-huh.
with some intricacies that, kind of sway you from that initial friendship to, okay, well, we have a difference in opinion here and how this is going to work or how that's going to work and how does that affect the friendship? Does the
Right.
friendship stay 100% intact while you're still dealing with this partnership? And I think that's, a struggle and a fine characteristic to...
So how are you navigating it?
Carefully, cautiously.
Very carefully.
No,
yes.
we're very fortunate. So the partnership that we're speaking of, my husband and there's 4 of us within the partnership. So myself and another female who we are women-owned business. We're doing great things for females in particular. But our husbands have been best friends since they were 14 years old. So this is a long-term, substantial thing that we have going here. So what we're trying to do is, I think, just be respectful of one another, but in that same breath, it can be challenging to maintain that respect when you know that perhaps you may be right, she may be right, and how do you navigate that whole bridge?
When both people are right.
Possibly, yeah. Because,
Or at least think they are.
yeah.
Or at least think they are.
But everything applies to different areas. I mean, we're in different markets, we're doing different things, so, and different philosophies towards things, and our different sales approaches and sales skill sets are different. So it's just trying to create that relationship where there is respect and we can keep going in a mutual growth pattern, I guess, is what we're saying.
Do you guys have kids?
We do.
You
We
do?
Yes.
Because are they teenagers or
No.
young?
Oh, yes, actually.
I have
So-
13 going on 14. I'll be
Uh-huh.
14 next month.
Uh-huh.
Son. I have an 11 going on 12 daughter in
Okay.
June.
Okay.
And then we have a 3-year-old son together.
Because sometimes I feel like looking at how teenagers or toddlers, not 3, but like, little bit older than that, but how they navigate friendships. I was actually I did an episode where I interviewed 3 young girls. They were probably like 12, 13, and they all had questions about, what do I do when I get pushed out of the group, when I'm not included? And do you see that with either of your kids? Have they had like the mean person or the...
My daughter, yes. I think female friendships are much different than male friendships.
Challenging.
Males don't seem to get caught up in all the stuff that females do. So I find that my daughter kind of jumps from friend to friend, and then sometimes they circumnavigate and come back.
Uh-huh.
But it seems like she has a lot more friends coming and going than my son, who has the same friends for as long as I can remember. So I think that there is that issue with my daughter.
There's clearly they just released the Broadway show of Mean Girls, that they just turned that from a movie into
Right.
a show, which is supposed to be great, by the way. It's a cliche, I guess, because girls can be mean, and I see that. Do you feel like, have you seen women or girls be mean to each other, be bullies? Or
Oh my
I
gosh.
think especially maybe in this Me Too movement, I feel like we're sort of saying support women, but then some women don't support other women. Do you?
100%. That's our biggest concern as parents, is the bullying issue. And especially when females and all these different body types and things come into play, and we live in Orange County, so it's a challenging place to navigate through life, I think, just in expectations and things of that nature. And then this whole social media concept, I mean, how do you protect your kids from it? Because you want them to experience things and learn self-control and figure out how to have it be in their world, because it's not going anywhere. But in that same breath, and in fact, it's probably just going to get worse and exacerbated, but we have to figure out how to give them the tools so that they can control it and whatnot, but also so that they can disengage and just be kids at the end of the day, which I'm really noticing, especially with our older two, it's really, really challenging to get them to break away from that stuff. So yes.
Right. What have you, is there anything that's worked?
Setting limitations.
Yeah.
I mean,
Setting
being a parent.
limitations.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only.
Which is
Do you feel like if you not just set the limitation, like, okay, hour a day, 2 hours a day, or whatever, do you feel like is there any value, or has it worked for you to also offer like a different thing? Like, today we're gonna go to the beach and build a sandcastle.
And I love what you're saying, actually. It's so funny because we're enrolling our 3-year-old actually in Montessori,
Redirect.
which is exactly what the philosophy that you're describing, the redirect, you can't do this, but you can do this. And we definitely have, like, we do family game nights and things of that nature all the time, which they love. And then once you get them to put it down, it's great. They really become engaged and they're excited to be part of the family again. It's just it is difficult to create that. But yes, the boundaries that he's talking about, time limitations, but then also too, you need to know what's going on, but you don't want to violate their privacy either. So it's that delicate balance
it's a tightrope. But
figuring
back
it out.
to the women thing, have you, and especially since I have a man and a woman here, I totally agree with what you said about men don't seem to have this kinds of issues. You just never, what is that? Like, what is it about women that as much as we want to say we're supporting each other, we don't? Are we that
Is it insecurity?
jealous or
Is it
insecurity?
Is it hormonal?
Is it hormonal?
It's probably all
Dare
of
you
it.
say, he's like, I don't think I can even say this word without getting beaten up, but I'm going to say hormonal.
Well, the
Yeah.
only reason I say that is because I can tell a difference
Oh gosh.
in my
Between a
daughter.
boy and between a son and a daughter.
And where she acts differently, and it's so
Yeah.
kind
Right.
of point
'Cause she's
blank.
getting to that age.
This is, I know, this is the thing. There are, hormones are a thing. Hormones are real. Like, hormones in the teen years are real. Hormones, for me, going on the other side as a 53-year-old, that's real too, and one of the things that makes women great is our hormones. It makes us be able to do great, beautiful, miraculous things. And when they are fluctuating, I think rather than like being hard on ourselves or other people being hard on us, to actually be like, this is a real thing. This is part of nature.
Embrace
and
it.
this is actually something to be sort of honored and respected because it's part of being human. And like, people don't really have that dialogue
They
either.
don't.
We're just all supposed to keep it together at all times and whatever. But to sort of honor it rather than always just like the buck up, you should be able to get through and not feel that
Right.
way.
More
And then
embrace.
if men could kind of try to understand something that they're never going to understand,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
you
Well, and I think part of it is the awareness, the ability to recognize what's happening with your own body. And I'm really trying to teach that to our daughter, is that, because I know myself, like, for example, last night we got home from the convention and I'm tired and I'm like, okay, why am I craving these things? I'm like, well, yes, okay, I know what's happening next week. And I try and share that with him, that, hey, this is what's going on with me, but just the awareness of it, so that I might be a little bit moody, it might be this, it might be that, but allowing her and helping her to recognize that and then share it, and then to your point, 100% honor it. Like, this is nothing to be ashamed of. This is a natural thing, and it's going to allow you to do beautiful things with your body.
But
So
I think it's
let's honor
weird
it.
because men don't go through that exactly. So it's so foreign to them that it's hard to be
challenging.
empathetic to something that's so foreign to you.
Well, even when the female doesn't always know to embrace it or know that it's going on
within herself.
Right. So for a male to be, it's a challenge. It's a challenge for both.
And then and then off the hormone thing, just back to I really want to understand why women cannot be, or do you think I'm wrong? Do you think women
No,
are
I
all
don't think
supportive
you're
of
wrong.
other women?
I don't think you're wrong at all. I think It really depends. I'm incredibly fortunate. My partnership that I'm talking about, we both bring fabulous things to the table. We really do, which is where we're learning to honor one another and respect each other's ideas and figure out how to create our vision and to expand it. But no,
So
you're not
two
at all.
women working together who are, is it just two or is there more women?
We're the main partners in this,
Okay.
but our staff is all female.
So you got
we
a
have
group
huge
of
family.
females, and you really feel like you have a group of females that are supporting each other and not knocking each other down, and that, because if you
100%, I feel like that in our environment.
Is there, in your environment, in your company, like, do you feel like you as a boss are facilitating something unique that is making that environment be like that, as opposed to some environments that you hear of where women working together are not particularly all on the same team?
Absolutely. So, and yeah, 100%. So we do body contouring. We're a natural solution to liposuction and things like that.
Okay.
So we're natural. So, but what we do is, I meet someone for the first time, and within 5 minutes, I'm asking that female, typically 90% of our clientele is female, to remove their clothing because we have to expose the area that we're going to treat. 90% of my clients are self-deprecating. I mean, they're just sitting there just completely destroying themselves and their bodies verbally to me.
Wow.
And when we started our company, I said to myself, I cannot do this because I'm guilty of that for my entire life. There's something that I don't like here and there. I'm
Right.
up 10 pounds, whatever it is.
Right.
And I was like, I have got to flip the switch in my own head if I'm going to help these women do the same thing. And so I literally did that, and it was so empowering because I still fluctuate all the time. I work 60, 70 hours a week, and I'm
Sometimes
tired.
you can
and
eat well, and sometimes you can work out, and
Yes,
sometimes you
can.
can't.
So there's all those different things that go in. So you're fluctuating yourself, and it's very easy to beat yourself up, especially when you're mentally exhausted. So I literally flipped the switch and just said, I'm never going to judge myself in that manner ever again. And it has changed everything. It really has. It really
That's
has.
so great. But we are so hard on ourselves.
are.
But you have
We
to
are.
have that thing go off that says, I am not going to do this to
Right.
myself
Yes.
anymore. So you think by you being less hard on yourself, you're creating an environment. They're not hard on themselves, nor are they hard on each other.
100%, because beauty comes in, I mean, it's so diverse. There's so many variety packs, and we're all so unique, which is what's so beautiful about the
I
human,
think so too.
the human race. So, yeah, I mean, that is definitely, we've created a culture where we don't allow that. And I've hired new employees, and they've tried to do the same thing, and I'm just like, stop, no, we don't do that here. We
Right.
respect and honor one another 100% of the time. And I have females that are, in 50 pounds overweight even, or 10 pounds underweight,
Okay, so
whatever
one more,
it is.
So one more question though.
We've
So
had
one
them
more
there
question,
before.
and then we'll wrap it up. But
Yeah.
one more question is: was there like a specific thing that you didn't understand the other person's behavior, and they didn't understand your behavior, but somehow you were still able to get past that with a woman?
100%. Yes.
And what was it? Can you exactly, without like getting them in trouble? Yeah, all right. I don't want to violate your privacy, but there. What was the without telling me the story? What was the trick? What did you just forgive somebody that you didn't understand? Because I think that's what it is. You have to
It's
just
compassion.
It's compassion.
Sympathy,
It's
sympathy.
for
compassion.
something that isn't your story, but you have to have compassion for it anyway.
Yeah, and really trying to put yourself in their shoes and
Right.
understanding where they're coming from, which
Right.
creates compassion and empathy, I think, because
Right.
we've all been through a lot, but it's really a matter of understanding the other person and coming up with how would I want to be treated? What would I appreciate that person doing towards me? And,
Right.
and so that's truly how we have overcome it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for
Awesome.
sharing all that. Thank you so
Thank
Our
much.
you.
pleasure. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
great.
Really nice to meet
Thanks
you.
for joining me in Van Therapy.
Our pleasure.
Magical things happen in this place. You can feel it.
It is
Good
kind of
energy.
My takeaway from this experience is learning a little bit more about ourselves, about the subject matter we talked about, parenting, women, and just enjoying it.
Yeah, I think it's also nice to know that Hollywood stars are going through and experiencing the same struggles that you are. It's pretty interesting with their children and parenting aspects and friendships and whatnot. It's nice to know that we're all people and we all experiencing the same challenges and can come together and create solutions to overcome them.